There we go.
There we're live.
Yep. Not sure how many people we got in here right now. There, it's showing up. It says 2 watching. Well, hello to the 2 watching so far. Yeah, like I said, I'm probably going to have to start doing these live streams earlier. Since there's so many people that are scheduled at 8 o'clock. I mean, I've already got 4 people showing up that are going live at 8.
Oh, man.
Yeah, that's going to cut us down.
Yeah. I'm working on sharing. Be Charming is here.
I hate it when my live chat does that. It just froze up on me.
Uh-oh.
Hey, Be Charming. How you doing? Who else we got in here? Howdy, Mayberry. Where are you watching? I'm probably one of the 3 watching.
I'm working on sharing it out, so you be patient with me, please.
Oh, no problem. We got 4 in here. It's probably going to take just a little bit because, like I said, everybody else is going live right now. We're going to have to find a better time.
Yeah, even on our streams, it takes a little time for people to come in. So,
oh yeah.
Sweat.
My heat just went out over here. Hate it when it does that.
All right, now I think I'm all set up and ready to go.
I just put a new can of butane in there, so I know that it's good. But my butane's been out here in the cold, so it doesn't really want to stay lit.
We recently had one of the big propane tanks installed in the yard since we had that rough hurricane season that we did.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Amy decided we needed a propane tank, and I was all for it. So we got that put in, and then we changed over our stove from the old electric coils to a nice new propane stove, and we put in this space heater behind us for emergency use.
Oh yeah, you gotta have it if you're in Hurricane Alley there. I mean,
yeah. When people ask
this year was
pretty cone of uncertainty.
Yeah, this year was pretty rough with the hurricanes. I know.
Yes. You're gonna have to bite the bullet and sit by me.
Do I have to?
If you want to be on camera.
On your homestead, do you have any livestock, chickens, anything like that?
We keep it to small stuff. We have right now we have about 8 laying chickens for eggs, and we have meat rabbits, and we have 2 beehives or bee colonies, I suppose. Hey, Courtney's husband, that's Dustin, if I'm not mistaken. What else? We have 1 roaming Muscovy duck. And in what, about a week, I think, right? The meat chickens are coming. Another round of meat chickens.
Yes.
So
there you go. Yeah. See, now I raise rabbits for meat. Actually, they're in a coop right out beside my shed here.
Yeah.
People don't realize, they're a great meat source. They reproduce quick. You just got to be careful of the fat starvation. You got to actually put some fat in their diet. But most of what they eat during the spring and summer and stuff is scraps from out of the garden. You know, like when I'm trimming the plants and stuff. You know,
Right.
but I still give them fat proteins and stuff. I want to do some chickens, but you know, I'm having to fight with the city the town that I'm living in here. They're wanting to fight me about building a chicken coop out here. Now, out at our bug out location, I have, you know, probably 30 laying hens. So,
Right.
but,
So you're in a municipality where you are?
yeah, it's just a little township. There's only 700 people in this town, and
Oh, wow.
I know 400 of them. So,
Yeah. Hey, Lori. And Mayberry Homestead. Hello. Mayberry is the one who lined us up to be on here
Yep.
tonight.
yeah, I thank Mayberry so much. Been such a big help, you know, trying to get my channel off the ground here. So, you know, big shout out to Mayberry. You know, but our local city council recently, like a year or so ago, they put in a mandate to where you couldn't even catch rainwater anymore. They were claiming it was a mosquito hazard, but anybody that knows what they're doing collecting rainwater, I mean, I put a screen over it, a real fine screen to keep, you know, insects from getting in there anyhow, you know. But you know, so what I'm thinking about doing is burying some barrels and collecting the rainwater anyhow. You know?
Yeah, just hide it. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean that's what I used to use for my garden all the time. You know, and we have about a half acre here in town, so you know.
Yeah, you just get a pump on, put a pump on that. And,
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, even if you know, even if it's a handle pump, you know, rather than a mechanized one. I mean, I like to buy a lot of the older style farm equipment and stuff like that, tools. You know, the old hand tools, because you know a lot of the studies I've been researching lately are talking about some serious issues with the power grid and some serious cyber attacks going on our power grid. So, you know, I like to keep the hand driven stuff rather than the power driven stuff.
You know, a lot of people don't realize how feeble the power grid is.
Oh yeah, it's ancient.
Yeah. Well, ours is brand new because it was entirely rebuilt after the hurricane season that we had. It had to be. It was completely destroyed. So
but the feed coming in is still still the same old stuff.
Yeah.
So a lot of that hasn't been changed out since the 60s, you know, so that's getting pretty outdated, you know.
Right. We were some of the fortunate ones. We were only out of power after Hurricane Laura for 11 or 12 days.
12.
And there was people who were out for months.
Oh yeah. Now see here, just the house that we have here in town, well, it's actually a trailer, but you know, we have backup generators. We have solar power generators. I'm wanting to put some solar power panels in out here, but the city's got ordinances that make it almost impossible. You know, they want to keep you on that grid, you know.
Yeah.
The heater's getting a little warm.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, out at our bug out location, we have some livestock. You know, we've got a couple of cows. One is a milking cow. The other one we're raising for beef. You know, and then we've got a couple of hogs and a bunch of chickens. We're looking into doing quail as well because they're a quick bird. You know.
Yeah, a lot of people. That's another way to get around stuff too. Is if you get nothing but female quail, they make little to no noise, and if they do make a sound, it sounds just like a songbird. So you can normally most people can get away with that.
Yeah, and you can keep them in a shed like what I'm sitting in here. You know, it's just like a 20 by 20 shed.
Right.
Know?
Right.
Put a
So
little
we
heat.
have raised quail, but I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Oh, okay. We have raised quail. We don't have any right now, but we do. We have connections to someone who has milk cow, and we have connections. We like once a year. Well, we just started this year, but once a year we're going to be buying into a hog share.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
So we have
share.
we actually have a butcher in our mag. So, you know,
Oh, nice.
When we go to butcher up our cow and hogs and stuff, you know, he does it all for us. So, you know, we put a smoke shed in out there and everything. So it's actually a pretty nice deal. Once we get it done and we get this place here paid off, we're going to move out there and rent this out.
Nice.
But okay, you understand you have another channel that you're doing?
Yeah, I have a second channel called Cajun Prepsteader, and that's where I'm going to put more of the opinionated stuff to keep my main channel safe from the censors.
Oh yeah,
because you know we're under attack. You know it.
Everybody knows. The censorship is just outrageous. I mean, you know, I see a lot of channels out here doing firearms videos, and I'm like, how are they getting away with it? When I put up a video, it showed how to break down and clean your firearms in an SHTF when you don't have the proper equipment to do it, how to do it without all that equipment. Yeah. Okay, and they pulled the damn thing down before it even got put up.
Oh man.
I was like, man, I spent what 3-4 hours just making that video. You know, I even purposely dropped a rifle in the mud and got mud inside of it and showed you how to clean it out.
Well, I'll tell you what, don't give up. If you still have that footage and that video put together, start a Rumble account and put it there.
Yeah, I've got a Rumble account, but I've been getting censored over there a lot lately.
Really?
So I just kind of stopped putting out videos over there because they kept pulling them down. And you know, there's a couple of other sites I'm going to try out, see how I like them. You know, I tried that BitChute, and it was just too much of a hassle. Everybody's saying that they fixed it now, but I don't know, it was just too much hassle. See, I've been censored on pretty much every other platform. Facebook pulled down my page. Twitter pulled down my stuff. Instagram pulled me down.
Oh wow!
I'm just like I'm jumping from one to another. You know, I have to build my fan base all over again.
Yeah, well, you know what? You've got the type of name that is probably very much targeted right now.
Oh yeah, you'd be right on that one. I mean, they're
anything patriotic is bad news.
Well, you know, it's funny because like when you know how when you're uploading a video to YouTube, it does the processing and I'm sitting here and I'm watching and I'm like, it hasn't even been posted yet, and I've already got like 40 views on a video, and I'm like, really?
Wow.
I mean, how hard are you going to examine my stuff? You know, when it takes 40 people to review a 20-minute, 30-minute video.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I try to be as honest as possible in my videos, and I'll talk a lot about my personal life and things that I've been through, and maybe they'll help somebody out there that's going through something similar.
Right.
Courtney made it in.
But,
yeah. Hey, Courtney.
She thought we were live on our channel.
Oh.
So she was having trouble finding the stream, and I posted the link, but I'm not a moderator, so she couldn't click on it.
Oh,
yeah,
they could.
I've only got a couple of moderators on here because, like I said, I just started doing the lives through StreamYard. I don't have enough subscribers to go and do lives through YouTube itself, and I get a lot of emails. People accusing me of being on here for the money and stuff, and I'm like, I haven't made a single dime. You know, I've
You know,
spent a lot of money.
Dan, there's haters everywhere.
Oh yeah, I actually over my last video that I posted, my rant video, I got my first YouTube death threat.
Wow.
Yeah, it made me laugh because they thought that I was bashing the LGBTQ community, but all I was saying was they don't need to be trying to push this stuff off on my kids in school. They don't need to be indoctrinating my kids.
Well,
Let me deal with my kids' sexuality. That's
right.
my job. But because I went on a rant about it, somebody sent me a death threat, and I emailed them back. I did. I emailed them back, and I was a smart ass. I told them, first off, if you were actually serious, you would have gave me your address. That way, I could just show up at your door. And second off, I probably did something I shouldn't have done. Because they made a comment about my sexuality and stuff. So I snapped a dick pic and I sent it to him and I said, "Here, suck on it." I was, I mean, you're going to question my sexuality and all this kind of stuff. Hey, whatever. I'll be a smart ass.
Yeah.
I try to tell people on my channel because I'm honest about it. I'm an asshole, plain and simple. That's all there is to it. I can be a nice guy, but I can also be the biggest asshole you ever met. Depends on how you treat me.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize, and I'm the same way. My attitude is often reactive.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, I've got nothing against anybody of any sexuality, any race, religion, none of that stuff. I mean, hell, when I was in my 30s, I took in one of my son's friends. His parents were going to give him up to the state. He was like 14 years old, and he came out to his parents that he was gay, and they were going to give up custody of him to the state. But my son come and talked to me about it, and I met his friend and everything, and so I petitioned the state for custody of him and raised him all through high school, and then he went off to college, and he's a nurse now. But awesome. if I was against gay people, why would I have done that for this boy?
Oh, right.
And he's still a major part of our life. He comes to all of our family get-togethers and everything. Even though he's moved away 2 states away, he still makes the time to come over. So
yeah. Well, the way I look at it, I don't care about anybody's lifestyle choices. Just don't make it my business. And the way to not make it my business is to stay out of my pocketbook, stay out of my taxes. Right. Don't make me pay for stuff, and it won't be my business.
Yeah, I don't care what you do in life. You're responsible for your own life. You answer for what you do. So right. Why would it affect me how you live your life? As long as you're not hurting me or mine, I don't care. You can do whatever you want as long as you're not hurting people.
Right. This whole push for tolerance, they want people to be tolerant so bad that they push so hard that they become the thing that they hate, and they're actually intolerant against us.
Oh yeah. I've had them say some of the nastiest stuff to me, and I'm like, man, I didn't even say nothing to you about your sexuality. Why are you harping on it with me and calling me, bigoted against you because of your
right.
None of it makes any sense. But that's the society we live in now,
Yeah.
And that's why I'm trying to tell people, society's not going to get any better. And the economy's not really going to, at least not in the next 4 years, isn't going to get any better. So you need to get prepared and get stuff in line, because things are really going to hit the fan. And if you're caught unprepared, you could be standing in a bread line.
Yeah. Well, we've been, changing our lifestyle to more more prepper, more homestead for, I don't know, heck, it's been 8-9 years at least. And you know, there's sometimes that we kind of like if somebody comes over to visit and like we're just doing daily stuff and we go, wait, that's probably odd to them, you know.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like, we don't throw the coffee grounds away, put them in the bucket so they can go out to the compost, you know.
Yep.
Just little things like that.
Yeah, my family isn't as big into this as I am, you know, and they'll give me all sorts of crap about it, you know, because I'll make compost and I'll bury stuff in my garden. You know, if I find a dead animal on the street, I'll go out and dig a hole in my garden and bury the dead animal out there, just because it's great for the soil, you know.
Right.
And you know, they come over, like my sister, she came over to help my wife clean out her wardrobe. And she opened up my wife's closet, and all along the floor of the closet is just food stacked. Yeah. And my sister's like, what the hell are you guys doing? She goes, you guys got food everywhere. You know, you open up our entertainment cabinet, there's food inside of our entertainment cabinet. You know?
Yeah, we have jars of honey under our bed right now.
Oh yeah.
We had lots of stuff under our bed, and then we went to Lowe's recently. She had me buy some nice big shelving units, and we've got things better organized now.
Yeah, I've got to get out here and organize this shed. It's a little ransacked.
My shed is in worse shape, I promise you.
Oh,
I've only got like a little 10 by 20 shed, and it's just jam packed with stuff.
I know.
That's
we
our
need to
outdoor
shop,
storage.
but I get a porch first.
well, see, we've taken a lot of the stuff that was in the shed here and put it out at the bug out location, because a lot of it was stuff that we'd need out there rather than here, you know.
Right.
But I mean, like right now, I've got 3 push mowers sitting over here. We have people, in order to make a little extra money on the side, we'll go around. Somebody has a junk lawnmower sitting out, and they're throwing it away. We'll grab it up, you know, or we put an ad on Facebook and stuff, and telling them, hey, look, you know, if you got an old junk lawnmower, you need it hauled off, give us a call. We'll come get it. And then we take them, and most of the time, it's not a whole lot wrong with it, but people just don't know how to work on them. You know,
right? We live in a disposable society.
Yeah, we fix the little problems with them. We clean them up. We repaint them and everything. Sharpen up the blades, and then we turn around and we sell them. And you know, we might have maybe $20 into them, and we'll get $60-$70 out of them. You know,
right.
People just throw away.
There was something about homeschooling. Oh, it was Wide Family Farm. Courtney says, main reason why I want to homeschool my kid. Yeah, we were kind of we were ahead of the curve on that. We've been homeschooling
7 years.
7?
Mm-hmm.
You know, right at 7 years. See, Mayberry says 8 years. Yeah, that's good. You know, there was a time a good while back that you know, we started to see the indoctrination in the schools. So we went around that, and we don't. What we do is not a traditional homeschool. It's actually a online public school. So there's still the interaction with, you know, the social aspect is there, but we get more control.
Yeah. Well, see, one of the things that bothers me about the school system is they're not actually teaching the kids anything anymore. Like I mentioned this in previous videos. You know, when I was in the 8th grade, to graduate to go to the 9th grade, you had to pass a Constitution test. Okay. Mm-hmm. And my daughter recently went from 8th grade to 9th, and I asked her about, you know, how she did on her Constitution test. And she just looked at me like I was stupid or something, you know, because they'd not taught her the Constitution in school, you know, and she didn't have to take a test on it or nothing. She's like, oh, we do social studies. We don't do history. I'm like, what happened here? You know,
yeah, right.
You know, I know why they're not teaching the Constitution is because you know, if the kids don't know their rights when they grow up, then they won't miss them when they take them away.
Well, let's not forget too that the Constitution, the original Constitution, is written in cursive, and that's not taught anymore either.
Yeah, my kids, they know cursive. I made sure to that, you know.
Yeah, it's the same here.
They
but you know, Trump put in that, the 1776 commission, which was meant to teach kids about the founding fathers and the history of our country and everything. And that's one of the first things that Biden got rid of.
Oh yeah, that was like his third or fourth executive order that he signed. Was just
I mean, how it's kind of obvious, dude.
Now see, you know, I've got some friends that are liberals and they voted for Biden. You know, and I told them, I go, look, okay, when you're paying $8 a gallon for gas, don't come bitching to me. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be coming over to your house and siphoning your gas since you voted for him. You know, and I go, you know, when the economy crashes, don't come looking to me for help.
Well, that's going to come quick.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
We're in high gear now for this country to fall on its face.
Yeah. I mean, I was reading an article recently on the World Economic Forum and their plans. You know, they had this plan by 2030 that you would own nothing, but you'd be happy. Well, what they're actually wanting to move their agenda up and have it that way by 2025, and they're going to use the pandemic to do it. You know, they're talking about once the pandemic's under control, they are going to basically crash the world's economy and do a big reset, and everything will be under one big globalist economy. You know.
Yeah, well, you know, not if Patriots have anything to say about that.
Well, sometimes Patriots is like trying to herd cats. You know.
Well, yeah. You know, you mentioned the pandemic. You know, now you have to wear 2 masks, but 3 is better, and we need to test your butthole for COVID.
Yeah. Well, I don't wear a single mask. I won't wear a mask, and if a business tries to make me wear a mask, I go elsewhere.
I mean, but how absurd do things have to get before people go, whoa, wait a minute, guy, you're not sticking anything in my butthole,
right? I made the comment. I go, the day that they tried to test me on that, I'm going to make sure to eat everything that gives me explosive diarrhea.
The minute you breach that thing,
you know, you're going to be wishing you had never got near it. You know, because you know, like I torture my wife because I'll eat foods. You know, like when she pisses me off, I'll eat foods that I know give me extreme gas. You know, and then I'll Dutch oven her all night long. You know?
Oh my goodness.
You know, I'll eat like sauerkraut and deviled eggs, and you know, drink a couple of beers and have some Polish sausage and stuff like that. And we'll go to bed, and a lot of times she just gets up out of the bed and goes sleeps on the couch when I do that.
Right.
Yeah. But, you know, it's things have gotten way out of hand in the society.
What kids are learning in schools, as far as the math is not the same, near the same as what we learned.
That Common Core garbage.
Yeah. My daughter, when she was in the 7th grade, she asked me to help her with her math homework. So I showed her how to do it the way I was taught to do it, you know. And you could complete it in like 3 little moves, you know. Mm-hmm. And she started doing her math the way I showed her to do it because it was the simplest way to do it. She wrote it all out on the paper and took it to school, and they gave her an F even though she had the right answer because she didn't do it the Common Core way. And me and the school got into that pretty hot and heavy about that. You know, they kept telling me, well, you know, if you want her to learn like that, you know, then you need to homeschool her. And I'm like, well, if I have to homeschool her, then I want a break on my damn taxes. You know?
Yeah.
You know, because I mean, I in order for me to homeschool her, I'd have to come in off the road. So they're going to have to start paying me a teacher's salary.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
Right. But yeah, the school system is just, it totally needs an extreme overhaul. Just collapse the whole thing down and start it over. Get rid of all these teachers unions. You know,
That's another one of those things that greed has infiltrated, because it's all about test scores, which equals the money and funding for the schools. They don't care what the kids know and what they learn. It's all about memorizing long enough to pass the test and go on to something else.
Yep.
Well, the thing is, the communities used to fund the schools, and they were private, through the community. And then the government stepped in and said, "Oh, we can do better." And they did the Department of Education and did the public schools, and you see where we're at now. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
The kids from back in those days were smarter than they are now. It's sad to say, but it's true. I mean,
It's the dumbing down of Americans.
Say what?
The dumbing down of Americans.
Oh yeah. I mean, they need to do away with a lot of the stuff that they are teaching and go back to home economics and shop class and stuff like that, and quit trying to promote college, promote trade schools. You're going to make a better living at doing a trade school, and you're not going to go as far in debt. I mean,
they need to promote life skills.
Life skills, right? And that's what I was just thinking about, because when I got out of,
probably 9 out of 10 kids don't know how to write a check.
When I got out of high school,
don't know how to balance a checkbook.
I had a reality check, because I did well in high school. I had good grades, good scores, and I hit the real world, and I didn't know how to change oil. I didn't know how to change a tire. I didn't know how to do my taxes. These are practical things that everybody should know how to do. Why don't we teach our kids how to do that?
Yeah, the only one of those I can't do is my taxes, because they keep changing stuff so damn much. I ain't got time to keep up with all that.
Right.
But I mean, when I got out of school, I could do all that stuff. I mean, I was brought up in a family that taught all that stuff anyhow, because it was part of our farm life.
Yeah.
I mean, I had to change tractor tires, for God's sake, and those will kill you real quick.
Yeah, I bet.
But they've gotten away from all that. I mean, when I was in school, they did have home economics. They taught you how to balance a checkbook. They taught you how to cook food. Well, in my home ec class, they even taught us canning and stuff like that, which I already knew because of my grandparents.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean,
that's cool.
But now they took those all out. They're wanting to do away with anything that's of value in the schools, because, well, it's easier to control a population that's dumb.
It is. And I think that's what the push for college is. They want specialized folks that are part of a system. They don't want people to do for themselves, because then that upsets the entire the entire system. When someone can do when someone can do for themselves and they're not contributing to the system, then communism fails.
My kids all went to trade schools. I refused, unless they wanted to go into something like nursing or something like that. All my kids went to trade schools. My son, he went, and he went for 4 years for automotive technologies. That included, small cars, body work, stuff like that. He did all that. So, and he graduated like 5th in his class. So, and it was money well spent, and it's already paid itself off.
Well, that's cool. I went to a trade school right out of college, right out of high school, but I didn't finish. So
Okay.
I don't know why. Amy just typed a comment or typed in the chat, and it didn't show up. So do you want to answer that like on camera? Mayberry asked a question. Says, Do you use a state-based cyber school? Did you know that colleges are seeking homeschooling and cyber school students over the past 5 years?
Yeah, we actually use a virtual online school. It's through the K-12 program. I think they're transferring it. They're called Stride now instead of K-12. But we've been with them now for, I think this is our 7th or 8th year, and the kids do really well. They do teach Common Core, but we also have the option to do it the old-fashioned way, and so we can teach them both ways. And then they choose which way they're going to solve the problems.
There you go.
So it makes it a whole lot easier. They're learning it both ways. They understand why they're doing it the Common Core way, but they also understand that not every kid learns that way.
Yeah. Well, they've tried to base this Common Core off of the system that they have in China, and I'm sorry, it just doesn't work here in America. I mean, it might work for the Chinese, but it's different cultures.
Well, the whole thing with Common Core is it would work here, but it's a program that you have to start when you're young. You can't just throw it at an 8th grader that has never seen Common Core before and say, this is how we're going to do it now. It doesn't work that way.
Switch in midstream, yeah.
Right. Yeah. Now, if they're taught from kindergarten and they're kindergarten, 1st grade, whatever, and they're taught the basics and it's a build-on system, then it's a whole lot easier to understand. The reason for that system is some kids learn that way. It's easier to break down numbers to be able to mentally do the math. And after learning how to do it, I understand the concept of why they're doing it. But it should be offered for only the kids that need it taught that way.
Yeah.
Some kids learn the basic algorithms of, 2 times 3 is 6.
Yeah.
But
other kids need
another kid needs it broken down into different ways. And I get that, but this teach everybody the same way and expect them to all do it the same robotic way doesn't work. Kids are individuals and they need to be taught individually.
Yeah. I mean, I've got a stepson that he has trouble in school. He needs specialized learning because he doesn't learn the same way as everybody else.
Right.
And the school was trying to teach him trying to teach him the same way they taught everybody else. And so, he doesn't even live with us, but he lives with his father. And I still pay for a tutor to go to their house to tutor him in the right way to do it so that he can learn it. He may not be my son, but he's still part of my family. He's my stepson. And to me, that's just the same as being my own kid.
Right.
Right.
And I'm going to
join the chat.
Hey, Hutch. I'm going to give my kids every opportunity to learn and make something of themselves. I'm not raising kids to live off the government or nothing like that. And unfortunately, a lot of people nowadays do. They raise their kids to live off the government.
Yep.
I've instilled hard work values in all my kids.
We've got family members that we could really talk about on that note.
Leave that alone.
I do too. I've got family members the same way, but they think the government should take care of them, and that I asked them, well, what are you going to do when it really starts collapsing around you, and the government's no longer there to take care of you? Then what are you going to do?
What do you do when the government's out of money because they keep sending money out all these places and there's nothing left?
Yeah.
So there's nothing left to support you with. Where are you going to get your groceries? How are you going to provide food for your family?
Well, we donate money and not just money, but some of our preps that we've had for years and they're getting close to their expiration date and we ain't going to have enough time to eat them. we will donate them to the food pantry, so that they can at least get used up, but we've seen that, I mean, the food pantries are struggling right now, just trying to keep up because so many people got out of work, and it's gotten really bad for them.
That's the thing, and I've said that before. People who really need the benefits, whether it be a food pantry or government benefits, whatever it is, the people who really need that stuff should be as pissed off as I am at the people who abuse the system.
Oh yeah. I mean, our food pantry, they love to see me come in because generally I'll come in there with about 3 months worth of food for 7 people at one time, because I prep for 7 people, even though it's just me and my wife, because I also prep for my kids and stuff, because I figure they're going to be coming home and to dad when it hits the fan. So, I'll take, and, once it gets within a month or two of the expiration date on the food, I'll take it and I'll take that out, give it out to the food pantry, and then I'll just go out and buy another 3 months worth of food. And people are looking at me like I'm nuts, but I make good money. I'm a truck driver.
There you go. Whatever works
and
for you.
I have things that I do on the side, like I said, with the lawnmowers and stuff. I had a DJ service until all this Corona bull, that pretty much put me out of business. So I got like something like $15,000 worth of party equipment,
Yeah.
And it's just sitting here. I got lights, I got speakers, I've even got bounce houses, and I ain't been able to use any of them over the last year.
Right. What part of the country are you in again?
I'm in Illinois.
Okay. That's a good ways.
Now, when people think about Illinois, of course, most people think about Chicago, but I'm in Southern Illinois, and down here it's all red. Where I'm not. I mean, the only places in this state that are actually blue are Chicago and Springfield.
Right.
The rest of the state goes red.
The way it is in most states. It's the heavily populated cities that are blue.
Yeah, well, Illinois, we actually had on the ballot this year to separate Chicago from the state of Illinois and make it its own state, and it got enough votes to pass. But then when it got sent to the U.S. Senate and all that, they shot it down.
Oh yeah, of course.
So it'd be nice, because then we would actually see some of our tax money coming back to those who need it instead of going to everybody in Chicago.
I went to Chicago almost a year and a half ago now, and the best thing about Chicago is Lou Malnati's, the pizza. Oh man, that was amazing.
Well, I've ate there. They're great.
You have big dreams.
But a place that I like for hot dogs and stuff is Portillo's in Chicago. They got some really good different styles of hot dogs, coney dogs, all sorts of stuff. I mean, they've got some great roast beef, Philly cheese, and stuff like that there too.
Oh yeah, that sounds good. Looks like some more of our friends are coming over. We got Big Dreams Homestead and Heirloom Permaculture.
Yeah, definitely people I haven't seen before, so that's good.
Yeah, hopefully they'll be impressed with your channel and they'll stick around.
Well, I hope they'd watch some of the videos, especially if they're new to prepping. If any of them are new to try to, well, for like a example, if you're trying to build a mag, I've got some great information on a video for how to build a mag. I suggest people go and watch that if they are considering starting their own mag.
The best thing about Chicago is the sign that says you're now leaving Chicago.
That's a definite truth. I didn't put out a video yesterday because I started my day out in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And I started out at midnight, and it was nothing but a sheet of ice covered with a thin layer of snow, and it was coming down really hard at the time too. So by the time I got out of Chicago and got back home, I was almost out of hours, and I was so exhausted from driving and that. I was just like, I can't do it. I just, I didn't have the energy. It was a nasty mess.
And that's
So
why I don't like school.
I do apologize to people for not putting out a video yesterday, but hopefully they'll understand it was just exhausting for me. Especially, a lot of people don't know how to drive around a big truck. Honestly.
Yeah, well, I drive a ladder truck for a fire department, so it's not quite what you do, but I get it.
Yeah, they get stupid. They just they don't pay attention.
Oh yeah. And when we're in full emergency mode, and people are just driving around oblivious, like, dude, get.
All right. Watch it.
If you watch my videos, you'll notice when I'm sitting in my truck and I'm making a video, I'll be sitting at a truck stop or a shipper or receiver or whatever. I never make a video while I'm driving. It's just stupid.
Right.
But when I'm sitting parked and I'm making a video, I'm still constantly looking around because you never know what somebody's going to do. I've had people back into me, just out of the blue at a truck stop. So I'm constantly just, head on a swivel.
Yeah, right. Right.
The best part is when somebody hits you and they say, "Oh, I didn't see you." You don't need to be driving.
Right.
Well, here's a funny story. Right after, it was a couple of days after Hurricane Laura came through. Hurricane Laura was a strong Category 4. Just pretty much wiped out every tree in the area. It took roofs. I mean, there was lots of damage. Everything was tore to hell and back. And I'm driving around on this fire truck, and somebody comes up, somebody in just a pickup comes up behind me, waving me down, and is like, hey. So I stop the truck and I go to get out, and he goes, no, don't get out. Dude, I'm getting out. I got out, and he's like, I know you're not going to get a ticket or anything, but you've got a tail light out. Like, dude, do you realize this truck sat outside in 180 mile an hour winds? I'm lucky it's upright. Get the hell out of here.
It's just, I mean, I'll get people, like when I was coming back down from Milwaukee, the winds are blowing at about 40 to 50 mile an hour. And it's nothing but a sheet of ice. So my trailer can break free at any second and slide over into the next lane. But I got people right there beside my trailer, just riding right there, like they're oblivious to me even being there.
Yeah.
And I'm only doing like 40 mile an hour on the interstate because it's so nasty,
People are
and they just sit right there.
What it takes to drive the big trucks?
Oh no. If any of them ever had to get behind the wheel, they'd be screwed.
Yeah.
It's like my baby brother. He always gives me crap thinking that I got an easy job. And so one day I got tired of hearing it because he's a welder for a living, and he thinks my job's so easy because all I do is sit and drive. And so one day I took it and I handed him the keys to my truck, and I go, I want you to take this damn thing around the block. He couldn't even get the damn thing out of the parking lot. And I was like, yeah, my job's real easy, ain't it?
Yeah.
Because I gave him the trailer and everything. It was fully loaded. It weighed in at about 79,000 pounds. So I wanted to see him get that rolling and take it around the block without wiping anything out.
Yeah.
But I knew he wouldn't even get it out of the damn parking lot. But, my hat's all on sideways. But yeah, as far as like homesteading, like I said, once we get our place paid off here, we're going to move out there, and I want to get away from everybody. That's my thing. I don't like having people close to me, and I I like it out where it's quiet and, you know, I can pretty much, if I want to build something, I don't need all the permits. You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
I, it, I, we had some people recently moved to our little town from Chicago. They bought a house here and they were here for about 2 months and decided to put it up for sale and move the hell out of here because they had that first thing they did when they moved here was put a Biden sign out in their front yard. So everybody around here stuck out our Trump sign. they decided, you know, after that they didn't want to live here anymore.
Well, you know, I was thinking about that this morning. I do believe conservatives, for the most part, want less government, smaller government, less government control, and that's where you're gonna find the people who are in the country, in the rural areas, who understand that and they want that, and the people in the city have no clue what freedom really is.
Oh no.
Is what I believe.
Yeah. In the country, I mean, you do have a lot more freedoms that, you know, if I want to, you know, like when we lived out in the country, if I wanted to go outside naked, you know, I could, and
Yeah.
with nobody around to say nothing about it. You know, if I wanted to build a machine shed or something, I could just slap it up without having to spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars on permits and all that, you know.
Right.
But in a city, I mean, when we tried to build the garden shed, we were going to actually attach it to the ground, actually. And the city's telling me, oh, you can't attach it to the ground because if you do, you know, you have to get this permit and that permit. And it has to be built to this code or that code. And I'm like, oh, forget it. I'll just put it on runners. You know?
Oh, boy. Yeah.
It's just not worth it. You know, by the time I would have got done with paying for the permits and everything, you're looking at like $5,000-$6,000 to build a $1,000 shed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the cities. I've lived in big cities. I lived in Los Angeles, you know, and I hated that. I really did. That was, the people were just, they blew my mind. I couldn't comprehend the amount of stupidity that I was seeing every day, you know.
Mm-hmm. If I could spend the rest of my life and never visit a metropolis, I'd be fine.
You and me both, brother.
You know, the time that I went to Chicago that I was telling you about, I flew into Chicago to visit a friend of mine who lives in South Bend, Indiana, and so we flew into Chicago. He came, picked us up, and I didn't. The only thing I asked for us to go see was Shipshewana, the Amish settlement.
That's a beautiful area.
Yeah, I loved it. I enjoyed the hell out of that.
Now, see, I suggest that people that are preppers actually go out and experience the Amish community. Talk to those people about how they do things. That you can learn a lot from them.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah. We have a Mennonite settlement, maybe an hour from us here, and I've actually gotten in touch with the guy who owns the Amish dairy, the Mennonite dairy. And we had an hour-long conversation, just spur of the moment, because we had so much in common.
Oh yeah, I mean, those people live off grid, so you know they are perfect people to help you to learn how to do it. You know, because when our grid does eventually crash, and it will, I mean, there's bound to be a cyber attack or something that's going to take it down. You know, you're going to need to learn how to live without power, and those people know how to do it.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, we have Amish, maybe 50 miles from us here, you know, and hell, I go out there all the time and watch them, you know, build. I've watched a barn raising out there and watched how they did that, and they all work together. So it was just like a well-oiled machine watching them work together. You know?
Yeah. I imagine. Man, that would be so much fun.
Yeah, the problem is that most people in today's society can't figure out how to work together to benefit one another. It's always
Right.
about what am I going to get out of it? What am I going to get out of it?
Yep. Yeah.
My philosophy, I help people all the time, and I don't look at it as what am I going to get out of it. I look at it as, am I helping the person in the way that they need the help? You know, and I gave my camper, I had a 28-foot camper. I gave it to my brother-in-law and his wife because they lost their jobs and everything and got evicted during this pandemic when it first started. So I told them, hey, I got a camper here. You're welcome to it. They went in, they remodeled it a little bit, and been living in my driveway ever since. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they give me a little bit of money every week to help out with some of the bills that they, now that they're back to work. Anyhow, they give me a little bit of money every week to help with the bills that they run up. But
Yeah.
it was the idea. I couldn't see him having to go and live in a shelter or some shit like that.
Yeah, right. Well, I was very fortunate to grow up basically in the same yard as my grandma. And then my dad's parents were not far away. So we were real close, and I learned a lot of very valuable morals, just basically old ways. So and I think that really contributes to me being a conservative. Is just those old-fashioned
old-fashioned
way of thinking, the values. Yeah, there you go. Thank you. Yeah, for sure. And Amy, the same. She grew up right next door to her grandparents, so just those old ways just instilled in us.
Yeah, I mean, my grandparents and my uncle and people like that, they raised me. And my grandparents, they lived through the Depression, so and they lived. Hell, they didn't get electricity out of their place till early '80s. They still lived off grid.
Well, there was a time before we got this house on this property, we actually bought Amy's grandparents' house, and it was before they passed away. They wanted to make sure someone else in the family got their house to take care of it, and they wanted to move to an apartment, so that it was kind of an assisted living kind of deal. So when we were helping them to clean up the house and move out and stuff, there was like an entire cabinet that was nothing but aluminum pie pans, and she was like, "Mama, what's the deal with this? Why you got so many
5 giant trash bags?
These things are disposable. What are you doing?" And she's like, "Well, you never know when you're going to need one."
Yeah.
But that was
one.
That's
yes,
the way it
but
was.
not
I mean,
500.
And that was that old, Great Depression thinking.
Yeah, the Depression.
I remember watching my grandmother wash aluminum foil and fold it up nice and neat and stuff.
Yeah.
It was the way of life.
Yeah.
And
yeah, I remember that.
It was interesting growing up in the environment I did, because my grandparents taught me a lot of the old fashioned values and the old ways of doing things. To this day, I still can foods that most people don't even bother with. Like we made for dinner last night. I made a big old pot of beans, great big pot of beans with a ham hock and all that in it. I mean, they were really good. We still had 3/4 of the pot left after dinner, and I just went ahead and I put them in mason jars and I put them in the pressure canner and canned them up, and they're stored up. They're already cooked and ready to go.
There you go. Yeah.
And we don't like to waste food if possible around here. And if food does go bad, it becomes compost.
Yeah. Find a way to use everything. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. I mean, I got a neighbor that actually paid all the permits and everything and built him a chicken house and all that. And I told him, because he was throwing away the chicken, and I was like, don't throw that away, throw it in my yard. throw it out in my backyard because it's good for my garden.
Yeah.
You know, so now every time he cleans out his coop, he just comes over and dumps it in my backyard. Hey, I'm happy about it because it saves me on fertilizer and all that. You know.
Yeah, I mean, did you ever think that you'd be excited to get a pile of crap?
No, but I know, right? It's funny, but yeah, I mean, yeah, whenever I see him out there, you know, he'll bring it over a wheelbarrow and dump it out in my yard, and I come out and I thank him, and you know, a lot of times we'll give him like a can of preserves or whatever, and he's like, "What's this for?" I was like, "Yeah, it's just something for you, you know," because you know, I mean, he's doing me a good favor, so I mean, why not give him some of the good non-preservative, non-chemical preserves that we make, you know?
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Somebody asked me recently what was the difference between jellies and preserves, and that kind of stunned me because I didn't think that people didn't know the difference between the two, you know. And
Yeah.
it's just a simple difference with the preserves. You've still got the seeds, you know, like in my strawberry preserves and stuff like that. You still got the seeds. And jellies, you don't have any seeds. You don't have any of the pulp or anything. You know?
Right. The jelly is made from the juice, and the preserves. Well, jam is made from bits of fruit, and then the preserves are made from like whole fruits.
Yep. But for them not to know the difference, I was just like,
yeah,
I thought everybody knew.
Yeah, I mean, things just become such a part of life that we forget.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another thing. You know, we go out and we collect eggs, and then we bring them in. We don't wash them. We stick them in a carton on the counter, and then there's some people come over and they're like, "You keep eggs on the counter? What are you doing? That's not good."
They don't go bad as long as you don't wash them.
That's correct. That's right. They're perfectly
or you
fine.
sell somebody a dozen eggs and they're like, they open them up and they're like, there's poop on there.
Yeah.
Where do you think it came from?
I tell people like that, I go, look, before you crack it open, just take and run it under some water, wipe that off, crack it open, you got a good egg. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
You know, that's when my neighbor first started raising chickens, he didn't know jack squat about them. And he wanted to start breeding chickens. And he's like, well, how do I breed them? I was like, all you need is a rooster. They'll do the rest. He'll mount on, you know, he'll get on their back and, you know, they'll, you know, he goes, do they actually have a penis? And I was like, not really what you'd call a penis, but, you know, he will mount them and fertilize. You know?
Yeah.
You know, people get into this stuff and they don't know anything about it. I try to tell everybody, do a little research before you go jumping in. You know, and like I want to do beekeeping. You know, I want to start keeping bees for pollination and honey and all that. But I'm not going to do it until I've studied up enough on it to where I know what I'm doing without killing off the hive or getting stung and, you know.
Right.
But,
oh, you're going to get stung.
Well,
that's just a matter of time.
I've been stung mowing.
Well, you know what I mean about I don't want to get stung hundreds of times is what I should say.
Yeah,
right.
You know, because I mean, I get stung all the time. I mean, I was out digging up a stump one day and had a bunch of damn hornets in the stump and I didn't know it. You know, yeah, you talk about pain. I had to jump in the pond and swim across the pond underwater to get away from them.
Oh God, it's like those red wasps we have around here.
Oh, I hate those things. Oh, they built this summer they built a nest inside my Jeep, which is my bug out vehicle. Oh, I opened up the door to fire up the Jeep, and all of a sudden I'm getting swarmed by these red wasps, and I'm running through the yard. You know? My neighbors all thought I was nuts. You know, but they build their nests in some of the weirdest places.
Yeah. That's one thing that I like about the winter here, because I'm not a big fan of winter at all. But What I do like about winter here is that there's no wasps and no snakes.
Yeah.
And no mosquitoes.
Well, yeah, no mosquitoes.
Well, see,
You'd
I
be
don't mind.
surprised.
I don't mind the cold. Really, I don't. I mean, my wife thinks I'm nuts because, like, I sleep in my truck with the turned off, no heat going or nothing. You know, in the middle of winter when it's like 10, 15 degrees outside, and I sleep on top of the covers naked. She's like, "How can you do that?" You know. And here she'd be all cocooned up in all the blankets and stuff, and I'm like, "It's not even cold." She goes, "You can see your breath. There's icicles hanging from the ceiling." Yeah,
Nope.
I've never had a problem with the cold. It's the heat that I had a problem with. I went down. I had a mini heat stroke back in my late 30s, and by the time anybody found me, I was right at death's door. You know, I spent like 4 weeks in the hospital over it, but ever since then, I haven't really been able to handle the heat. You know. Well, are there any questions from anybody in here? I know we don't have a large crowd tonight because other people are doing a lot of live streaming. Yeah, I think I'm going to start setting it for probably 7 o'clock instead of 8 o'clock. Because I don't think anybody really streams around 6 to 7. Let's see, Jefferson Martial Arts, Miss Prepper Plumber. Let's see.
North Shore Preparedness is here. That's Sean.
Yeah. Hey, North Shore. He normally does a late night after everybody does all their streams. He'll have a late night stream. And I've been in on his raiding parties where we go to channels where there's not many viewers or whatever.
Yeah, me too.
We jump in there. You know, those are actually pretty fun. I don't know if you've ever gone to his live streams or not, but
oh yeah, I have. Sean and I, we've become pretty good friends.
Sean is our
I like to say that
Canadian family.
He's Canadian, but we don't hold that against him. Yeah, he's our neighbor brother to the north, but yeah, we go in there and he does the love raids, and everybody in the chat room goes. And
he's good.
Yeah, he's a great guy. I mean, he talks peace and love and all that, you know. Whereas a lot of other channels, they're talking, you know, angry and just, you know. I love going to his channel. It helps to calm you down.
Yeah. Listen, Dan, there's a question in the chat there from Montana Grizz fan.
Okay, yeah. How do you convince people who think the whole grand solar minimum is a hoax and think you're nuts? Yeah, that one's a little tricky, but you know, I do go back and I do the research on it, and I'll print the research out because the grand solar minimum is a reoccurring thing that happens on a regular basis.
It's cyclical.
So you can go back in history and show them historical events of a grand solar minimum where, you know, the summers didn't get as warm and everything, you know, and I just give them all the facts about it. And I'm like, well, if you still think I'm nuts, then it's your problem because you're in denial of the truth. You know, there's no real way to keep people from, or to convince somebody that doesn't want to believe, I should say, and to keep them from thinking you're nuts. I mean, I got family that thinks I'm totally off my rocker because of what I do. And you know, this past year, many of those same people that have called me nuts and a tinfoil wearing freak and all that, they've come to my door asking for help. You know? So,
and that's just it. You know, there was a lot of my family members who thought we were crazy for canning and dehydrating and preserving everything we could. My parents were one of the world's worst, you know, and we just kept doing what we were doing. And I tried to share as much knowledge with them as I could. And this past year with all the COVID stuff, and
her mom totally disapproved of us being on YouTube as well.
Right. But this year with all the COVID and everything, my mom actually came to me asking canning questions on how to can meats.
And she asked us to make a video.
Yeah. And had us make a video on it. So she's really coming around. She's realizing that we're not so crazy. After 2 massive storms and being out of power, we didn't suffer near as badly as they did. They relied on a generator for everything.
Oh yeah.
And their fuel costs were enormous because of it. We were spending about $5, I don't know, about 5 gallons a day on a generator running bare minimum. They were running their entire home.
Yeah, we were in an air conditioner and we were plugging in the freezer every once in a while.
And one light.
And one light at night. Yeah.
If you're trying to run your whole home off of a generator, man, you're wearing that thing out quick.
Yep. Yeah, and it's only like a 8,500.
Ours is 6,500.
No, my mom's. I think I want to say it was an 8,500 watt.
No.
And they were trying to run, all their lights, and she was vacuuming the floor, and I was like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah, like no idea. Preserve people,
Conserve.
Conserve. That's what I mean.
Yep.
Yeah, conserve power. Ration what you've got. You can't just keep on living like nothing's happening.
Yeah.
No, don't get me wrong. It was pretty brutal after Laura. The first 4 days we were under heat advisories here, and our heat indexes and stuff were in the I want to say 107, 108, and we had no generator, no air conditioner, no nothing for 4 days. It was miserable.
Our golden retriever nearly died from the heat.
Yeah.
Oh Lord.
It was borderline. That's why we ended up borrowing a generator and a window unit.
Yeah, we've got a couple of generators here. We rarely ever need them. Once in a while, for an ice storm takes down the power lines or something like that. Tornado might take down some power lines or something. But generally they'll get the power back on within a day or two. But yeah, to go for 3, 4, 5 days or more, in a heat like that, yeah, I'd be out. I'd have my generators broke out and running all the time, but
yeah,
just because of our animal, we have a beautiful rescue dog that we actually stole him because the people that had him, they were feeding him methamphetamines, trying to make him into a fighting dog.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, so we found out about it and we just went and swiped him. No, I mean it. I probably shouldn't be admitting it on YouTube, but oh well, we saved that dog's life, and he's the sweetest dog. People were worried because he'd been on meth for so long that he was going to, like turn on us or whatever. We've never had a problem out of him, but the first thing we did was we took him to the vet and started. The vet gave us some medications for withdrawals from the methamphetamines, and we got him to where he wasn't jonesing for that or anything, and he's been a very loyal and protective dog. Great hunting dog, except for he hates water. So
yeah.
We have a golden retriever that is deathly afraid of water.
Well, she's a rescue, so yeah. They found her in a thunderstorm in a ditch. So she hates she hates thunderstorms. She hates water. She's gun shy.
Oh yeah. Now see our dog, man. This dog, he sees a rabbit, he'll run that rabbit down. I mean, he will literally run that rabbit down, kill it, and bring it back.
Wow.
And we had him on a lead out here in the backyard. We'd chain him out there for an hour or so, let him get some exercise and all that. But we come out the door and we seen him jumping up in the air and he'd snatch a bird out of the air.
Wow.
And we started looking around our yard and we had like 9 dead birds.
God.
He gets some serious vertical height on him.
Yeah.
But,
No, we have a retriever, but she doesn't retrieve anything. So
No.
when Brett shoots blackbirds and they land in the field, we are the retrievers.
oh, he'll go
And
after
usually that
birds, he'll
means
go-
me.
We actually had to get him out of a tree one day because he chased a squirrel up the tree and then he couldn't get down.
Oh man.
He got the squirrel. He just couldn't figure out how to get back down out of the tree.
You know, that makes me think, as a firefighter, you know, many people ask, you get cats out of trees? And, you know, the funny answer for the longest time has always been, you ever seen a dead cat in a tree? No, they get down.
Right.
Well, one year on April Fool's Day, we got a call to go get a cat out of a tree, and we were like, "No, whatever." And it was legit. We had to go get a cat out of a tree.
Oh, Lord.
Guy had to completely gear up because otherwise this cat would have just tore him to pieces. But we did it, yeah.
I wouldn't have climbed the tree for the cat. I would have just taken a hose off the truck and blow him out of the tree.
We used the aerial ladder on top of the truck, but no, that good Lord, man.
Yeah, I would have just turned the hose on him and blown him out of the tree myself.
Well, the cats always land on their feet, so
I'm not a big fan of cats just because I've had a lot of bad luck with cats. We had a neighbor one time. He didn't just have cats, he was a cat rancher. Okay. He had hundreds and hundreds of cats. And they would get underneath my house and tear stuff up. I mean, break my water lines. They would tear down my heat ducts and all that kind of stuff. And I was constantly sitting out on the sheriff came out and told me I couldn't do it anymore. So I switched over to a pellet gun. But I used to sit out on the front porch with a .22 rifle and I'd shoot the cats as they were going across the street. And he called the neighbor that owned all the cats, called the cops, and they come out. Oh, you can't discharge your firearm in city limits. You know, all right. So I went in and I got the pellet gun, and I use the pellet gun for small game anyhow. It travels at like 1,300 feet per second. You know,
yeah.
It's the equivalent to a .22 rifle. And I started picking the cats off with that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if they're tearing your stuff up.
I mean, in 1 year, they cost me like $8,000 in damages to my home. You know, so, and people think that that's cruel, but what's cruel is having that many cats that he takes and feeds and waters, but doesn't get them their shots and all that stuff. And they become feral and they start tearing people's stuff up. You know, that's what's cruel. You know,
right.
And a lot of those cats, we finally got animal control to come out and round them up, and it took them about 1.5 years to get them all. But a lot of those cats had like feline AIDS, feline leukemia, you know, stuff like that. I'm like, that's cruelty to an animal.
Right, right.
At least I killed them first shot. They didn't suffer. You know, they were one and done. I don't miss.
Right, right. Yeah, take them out in a humane way.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think I've only ever missed a target that I've aimed at maybe 3 times in my entire life. So I'm a very good marksman. I've been trained ever since I was, you know, about 8 years old. And I mean, I can zero in on the fly. So my uncle taught me a lot about it, and he was a special forces sniper, you know, so he trained me really well.
Well, the first time she ever aimed at an animal, you know, she took a deep breath and headshotted a bobcat
in the ear.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good shot to get him in the ear.
Yeah, we skinned it and found the bullet in the ear.
Damn. Yeah, we have a little problem
because I wanted to tan the hide and keep it, and I was looking for somebody to help me learn how to tan it. And well, we had the hide in the freezer and ended up losing it because of the hurricane.
Because of the power outage.
Yeah.
Tanning their hides really ain't that hard. It's time consuming is all.
That's what I hear. Yeah.
Because I like when I go deer hunting and stuff, I tan the hides and I sell them.
How far was the was I from the bobcat?
Maybe 20 yards.
I don't know.
You were pretty close.
All I know is I was sitting on the milking stand behind the goat house.
And that was with a 22 long rifle with no scope. So
open sights. That's pretty damn good.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I've got friends that have lost bets to me all the time. Like I got a little 10-22 rifle, and a friend of mine bet me I couldn't drop a deer with it.
Oh.
He told me he'd give me $500 if I could drop a deer with that 10-22. So we went out hunting. Deer standing out in the field. I took my shot, and the deer's still standing there. And he's like, "You didn't get him." I go, "Is he moving?" And he's like, "No." I go, "Walk up to him, push him." He walked right up to him, pushed him over. He was dead.
What?
10-22 is not going to knock him down, but it will penetrate. And if you know where you're aiming, I put the bullet right through his heart. So he was dead and didn't even know it.
Wow. That's crazy.
And my buddy, he was all pissed off because he had to fork over $500. Told him, don't ever make a bet with me unless you're willing to lose the money, because one way or another, I'm winning that money.
Yeah.
But that was a great day. I wound up letting him have the head for a trophy, and I kept the rest of the deer and tanned the hide and kept the meat and everything. I got about 115 pounds of meat out of him. So.
Nice.
But it's fun to mess with people. As somebody said, it's hard to beat a 10-22. It is. 10-22 is a great gun. Great for pretty much everything. But I think my wife's ready for me to come in. Hey, Bobby. Kids go to bed. This is my wife, Heather.
Hi there, Heather.
Duck down a little bit so they can see you better. There you go. As you can tell, she's younger than I am. So she likes us old guys. Yeah, I know. We're going to wind up having to end this stream. Anybody got any questions before we go? Somebody said, "Hi, Heather."
Hello.
North Shore says hello.
Hello.
She's bouncing on my chair. But yeah, I think we'll have to do this again, but we'll do it at an earlier time. That way, we're not conflicting with other channels. Because, like I said, when I came on here, there was 4 other channels going live, so I kind of knew we'd have a small audience tonight.
Well, this was certainly a lot of fun. I can't wait to see who you have on next time.
Oh yeah, I can't either. Marbury is normally the one that sets it up for me, so there's a couple that I was interested in talking to. Just okay. But I one time I reached out to Prepping 101 to see if he would come on, and I never got a response back. Just because I wanted to talk to him about, trying to cut back on the conspiracy theories, because this community suffers because of a lot of people look at us as tinfoil wearing, conspiracy nut jobs, and that's not what this community is about. It's about preparing for actual situations that could happen. Power grid going down, pandemic, hurricanes, tornadoes, stuff like that. And people need to wake up and realize that that's what we are. We're not these nut jobs that think that aliens are going to invade the planet or everybody's going to turn into a zombie and stuff like that.
Wait, you don't believe it? No, I'm kidding.
I like a good conspiracy theory as much as anybody else. I really do.
Yeah, but I mean, we have to use critical thinking with anything.
I did my research into the odds of a virus or parasite or something that could cause a zombie like apocalypse. And there are organisms that are carried by certain rats and stuff that basically turn the rats into a zombie. But for them to transmit to a human they haven't been able to make that jump yet.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's why I said I'll research all sorts of stuff, just because I'm curious. But I'm not going to go out here. I'm not going to go out here and spout off and say, this zombie apocalypse is coming and this is what's going to cause it and all that kind of stuff. That's silly. Now I will hypothesize about stuff that I see that could possibly happen. I think within the next 4 years, this administration is definitely going to get us into a major war. But I mean, that's a high probability. And I've told people that, and it's not. I tell them, look, this is a theory I have. This isn't a fact. This is a theory. And I make sure that they understand that this is what I think could happen, not a definite going to happen or anything like that.
I'm not counting zombies out.
I got enough rounds. I could kill off a town. I got a stockpile of about 30,000 rounds, different calibers. I mean, 9 mils and 30-aughts and all different types. But,
to be honest, I'm kind of looking forward to zombies because I thought he was a zombie. Sounds like a really good alibi.
Right. Well, my thing was I actually would kind of hope there was going to be a zombie apocalypse, because that would give me an excuse to kill somebody and then wait for him to come back to life and kill him again.
Oh, that would be fun. I'm gonna start that list.
Okay.
But, it's fun to think about.
Right.
Mayberry's got a question in the chat. It's how do you stock up on daily diabetic meds and not insulin?
I'm not a diabetic or anything, but I do a lot of reading on natural herbs and stuff that can help to control those things. And there are a lot of herbs out there that grow wild in nature that will help to control diabetes. And you'll find that if a diabetic can survive, the first month of a SHTF, odds are that they are no longer going to be diabetic, because most diabetics are diabetic because they're overweight and have a high sugar diet.
Right.
And in an SHTF, you're going to lose weight. You're not going to have all that sugar in your diet. But there are a lot of.
It would be getting yourself healthy, getting yourself onto a healthier diet and controlling your diabetes if it's possible. But some people have type 1 diabetes, and there's nothing that can be done. But somebody in the chat said generic insulin is $25 a box at Walmart. those
Is
do
that-
have an expiration.
Is it over the counter?
Yeah.
In some cases,
Certain types of insulin are.
right, certain types are.
See, I have no experience with that. So
I mean, you can get 3 and 6 month prescriptions from your doctors and things like, especially now, use COVID as an excuse.
Yep.
I don't want to get out, can you give me an extended prescription? Things like that. I would not recommend skipping dosage,
Oh no.
to try to stock up. But
Don't
definitely,
skip on 'em. You know,
definitely try to get your sugar levels under control for sure.
Oh yeah. Well, see, like me, I'm about what? They said my ideal weight's around 180 pounds. I'm 261 now. I used to be 180 about 5 years ago, but the truck driving, it's hard to eat healthy, for one. And nowadays, nobody wants to let you get out of your truck and get any exercise. You can't get out and walk around or do nothing. I've had security at truck stops telling me, "Look, you got to get back in your truck. You can't be out here walking around. You're too much of a liability. This and that, and whatever." Okay, because I like to get out and walk, but I can't because they won't let me. Shippers and receivers are the same way. But if there was an SHTF, I imagine I would shed the pounds pretty quickly, as active as I would be.
Yeah.
And I
The
would
last
probably
time I was
feel a hell of a lot better.
was 25 years ago when I was so sick that I nearly died. I was just very, very sickly looking too. I can't wear only 180 pounds and look healthy. I just can't do it.
Well, you're probably a much bigger guy than me though too. I'm only 5'8".
Oh, okay. I'm 6 foot.
Yeah, say. I mean, yeah, I have a lot of muscle mass because I used to be into bodybuilding and all that, and I kept in really good shape for years because I did the private contract security, and I was always in combat zones. So yeah, I stayed in really good shape. But then I got back.
Uh-oh.
Oh, what happened there? We
Oh,
blanked
no.
out for a second.
Okay, there you're back.
Yeah. But yeah, I do study a lot of natural remedies for stuff. Like for example, if you've got severe toothache, you go out and find the cattails that grow around the swamplands and stuff. And if you peel the leaf back, there's a jelly in there. It's a kind of a clear jelly, and that stuff it actually numbs your gum and will take away the toothache.
Oh, well, that's good to know. We've got cattails. We have a pond in our backyard, like right next to our house. So, and there's cattails all along the edges. But we also have the toothache tree, which is it's actually called it's prickly ash.
Yeah,
but it's not a toothache tree, so we have that too.
But yeah, that works amazingly well. I mean, I've been out on the truck before and had a toothache and couldn't get nothing to put on it. Seen cattails on the side of the road and went over there, peeled it back, scooped some of it out. Now make sure that when you scoop it out, there's no bugs or nothing in it, because it does have a tendency every now and then. But scoop it out, and if it's clear, rub it on your gums, and it'll numb your gums for hours.
Huh, that's good to know.
Yeah, it's way better than Ambisol or any of that kind of crap. No chemicals to it.
Yeah.
And I like to stay as chemical free as possible.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And I have a myriad of health problems. I've had both my knees replaced. I've got pins in my back. I got a bullet in my back. I've got a plate in my head. I mean, I've abused my body so damn bad. But I'm always in pain, and the doctors are always wanting to give me all these painkillers and stuff like that. And I told them, look, I found other ways, like milkweed is good for pain. I don't know if you know what milkweed is or not, but
Mhm. Yeah.
I mean, the white secretions, if you milk that out of there, that actually works as a good painkiller.
Same with wild lettuce, I understand.
Yep, wild lettuce works good.
Yeah.
Um, I think Sean misspelled it. I really hope he misspelled that.
No, I think that's what he meant. Anusol.
Anusol. Anusol.
Yeah, I've heard oil is good for toothaches too.
Yeah, you might need the anusol for the COVID test.
No. Mm-mm.
I told my wife
I didn't have the COVID swabs or anything up my nose. There ain't no way.
Yeah, I've got to go in for a pulmonary test next, not this Monday, but next Monday. So on Friday, I got to come in off the road early so I can go get a COVID test before I can go get the pulmonary test done.
Wow.
And this will make like my 17th test. And every time it comes back negative.
Oh, you can use the clove spice for toothaches.
Let me ask you this, Dan. Do you typically wear a mask?
No.
Me neither. And I have not gotten COVID. I haven't shown symptoms of COVID.
Yeah, I refuse to wear a mask.
But it just, it strikes me as odd.
I go to truck stops all the time, and they got these signs on the door that say, "You must wear a mask to enter here." Well, I go in there anyhow, and if they say anything to me, I just say, "Fuck you guys," and I walk out and I go somewhere else.
Yeah.
I will not wear a mask. I have COPD, and those things make it very hard for me to breathe. So I'm not doing it. I smoke and I should give it up, but I've been doing that for 30 plus years, and I don't see me giving it up until I die.
Actually, if you want to have your mind blown, look up Legionnaire's disease.
Oh yeah, I've looked at that before.
Almost all the same symptoms, but it comes from breathing moist air.
Yep. And you wear a mask, you're breathing moist air because when you breathe out, you can see the moisture in my breath just breathing out here in the cold.
Yep.
So, that's just accumulating on your mask, and you're breathing that moisture back in, and that's all right. I can do without.
That's the part that I don't understand. How is a little cloth mask supposed to help me? If I can smell your fart through the cloth mask, then
well, now now they're testing. Now they're testing for COVID in your booty hole, so that means you catch COVID from farts too, right?
I'm screwed.
Right?
Yeah, I'm going to hate because I've been putting off for about 13 years going to the dentist. I had guy tried to jack a load of cigarettes that I was hauling, and he knocked out all my top teeth with a tire thumper. So all I got up there is stubs, and I've been putting that off for all these years, but now the pain's starting to get towards getting to be almost intolerable. So I'm going to wind up going in and having them all pulled, but I have to go through all this COVID bullshit in order to be able to get it done.
Yeah. I just recently I had to go in for a hernia repair. I had a small hernia around my navel, and I found it in March, but at the time it was non-essential because it was right at the beginning of COVID, and so I didn't get the operation until November, and through that whole time I was working, and the hernia was just tearing a little more and getting worse. So.
Sean said he's been wearing an N95 for years at work, and he can smell a fart through those too.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't. I'm not going to believe that you have to wear them.
She's got to wear an N95 for 12 to 16-hour shifts, and wear them the whole time. There's no way I can
believe in all that, because first off, the same guy that's telling us now that we need to wear a mask is the same guy that just told us at the beginning of last year that we didn't need to wear a mask. He's also the same guy that wrote a paper about the Spanish flu and said that the masks actually contributed to the death count of the Spanish flu because people were getting what kind of pneumonia was it?
Bacterial
pneumonia.
Yeah,
right?
well, there's another name for it though. But yeah, they're getting bacterial pneumonia from wearing the masks, and that was what killed more of the people during the Spanish flu than the flu itself did.
Right. Imagine that.
So why the hell would I want to put on a mask?
Yeah. Well, it seems to me, I'm not making that claim, but I'm just saying it looks like the people who are wearing masks are the ones that are getting sick. Yeah.
Now, the thing about this virus is it's supposed to be deadly for people with pre-existing health conditions and stuff like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, my mother's in her 70s. She's battling breast cancer, going through the chemo and all that, right?
Yeah.
Recently, a couple of months ago, while she was going through all that, doing the chemo and all that, her immune system was bottomed out because of the chemo.
Right.
She got COVID. Okay.
Yeah.
She quarantined and all that. When she got out of quarantine and she tested negative a couple of times, she come over and I was talking to her about it. And she goes, it was no worse than having the flu.
Yeah.
And I was like, but how are you even still alive? It should have killed you.
Yep. Yeah.
Because I mean, you had no immune system because you were going through chemo.
We had a family member that has stage 4 COPD, and she went into the hospital with COPD issues, ended up catching COVID while in the hospital. And so I asked her, I said, so how bad was it? She said, I wasn't hungry for about 4 days because I lost the sense of taste. She said, after that, I ate everything just fine.
Oh, yeah. And I think it was
somebody
around
in their 70s, almost 80s. She's 76. For them to have stage 4 COPD, and this is, she's one of those high risk. She's one of those that, this is a lung disease. It's going to kill you. And she was fine.
Yeah. That's why I don't believe any of the BS about it. But, they can make all the claims they want, but unless it's killed me, I ain't going to believe it. Okay. Honestly, I mean, and I think it's been around a lot longer than they let on because, I mean, last November, like the first week of November in 2019, I come down sick. And I mean, I come down really bad sick and I couldn't breathe and I didn't get hospitalized or nothing, but, I was having a hard time breathing. I couldn't smell nothing. And it lasted until right around Christmas time. And they just told me, oh, you've got infection in your lungs. Okay. They gave me some antibiotics and stuff like that. And, I got over it. It didn't, like I said, I didn't go in the hospital or nothing. And I have stage 2 COPD. So, I mean, I'm pretty high risk. And, so yeah, I think that might have been COVID and it might have kicked my ass a little bit, but it wasn't to me any worse than any time that I've had pneumonia in the past.
Well, I really believe that the reason why so many people got so bad and even died because of it is because they just were not treating them until they got to a certain point. Her dad had it and they said, oh, you're positive, go home. Really?
No meds, no nothing. They sent him home.
So it wasn't until he was so dehydrated and couldn't breathe and had to go spend a night in the ER or a couple hours in the ER on fluids that they finally started treating him with something.
No. My mom actually got on with one of those telemed conversations with a doctor. She doesn't even know who she saw. She was desperate. And because his doctor wouldn't prescribe any medications. And we had some asthma medicines here that I gave her to get him by for a few days.
We had Pulmicort.
Right. And
an inhaled steroid.
but she got on telehealth with a doctor she had never met, and told him what was going on, and told him that they weren't treating him, and they sent him medication, and he finally started getting better. Had he not been treated, he would have probably died.
That's what gets me is, if this was as big of a problem as they claim, then at the first signs, they should automatically start treating you instead of just saying, "Oh, well, go home and quarantine." Let us know if you get any worse. Yep. Well, shit, what the hell do I need a doctor for? I could have told myself that.
Yeah. Right. Well, they call us crazy for saying it's political, but look, things are starting to open back up.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
isn't that amazing how that happened after Biden got sworn in?
Yeah, and you may or may not have heard, but the CDC,
they're now pushing to open.
They switched. Yeah, they're pushing to open the schools now. And when everybody said that Trump was going to kill their kids,
but the teacher unions don't want to open.
And that the CDC switched their stance on hydroxychloroquine now.
Oh,
so
yeah.
all the people that got silenced and lost their YouTube channels and everything over the hydroxychloroquine mess, now it's okay now.
Yep. Ain't it amazing how everything just changes just because the administration changes?
Yeah.
Right. And that teledoc stuff, that stuff, I don't really care for that. If I want to see a doctor, I want to see him in person. Like my wife.
All right.
My wife recently.
How are they going to get your BP and pulse and everything?
My wife recently had to have an ablation done because she was having extended monthly cycles that were lasting like 2 and 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we called the doctor to make an appointment. And he goes, "Well, we'll do it over a video chat." And I'm like, "How the hell are you going to examine her down there over a video chat?"
That ain't happening.
This ain't OnlyFans. What?
I mean, that's just. I was like, we're not doing a video chat. Either we make an in-person appointment or we find a different OB.
Wow.
I was like, what is she going to do? Hold the camera down there?
That's crazy.
Not happening.
That's what she said. She's like, no, that's just not going to happen.
Right. We did a telehealth with my niece. She had an allergic reaction to something and broke out in hives. And I was kind of ticked. Well, for one, the telehealth thing didn't work because on the doctor's end, his microphone was so garbled we couldn't even hear him. So he ended up picking up the phone and calling me, which was fine, But for a 5 to 10 minute conversation, he charged $60, which with my sister's insurance, had she gone into the office, it would have cost her $35.
Yep. It's just,
how is it that a telehealth conference is more expensive? And then on the phone, they wanted to ask me what her blood pressure was. Excuse me? I don't know.
Like you're an RN and you're taking blood pressure,
Well, and she asked me, she said, "Do you have a blood pressure cuff?" Yes, but not for an 8-year-old.
Why don't you tell me what does your assistant make, and I'll take that.
Right. It's just stupid, some of the stuff. I mean, well, I went to see the doctor to get a full out physical. So, and I was talking to him, about things that had happened in my life, just chit chatting with him. I had my second wife passed away. She was 40 when she passed. And, I slid into a little bit of a depression when she passed away. Well, actually quite a bit of a depression, but I came out of it. I got my life back together. I'm good. He prescribes me Prozac saying I'm depressed. I'm like, I just told you, my life is back together. I've got it good now again. How do you figure I'm depressed?
Yeah.
Wow. And I've never taken it. I won't take it, But the thing is with that new gun grab bill that they have, that HR 127, because he prescribed that, if that bill passed, I would lose my right to own a firearm.
Wow.
Yeah. Even though he's not a clinical psychologist or nothing, but since he prescribed me Prozac, according to that bill, it would automatically disqualify me because I'd been prescribed a mood altering drug.
Right. Yeah. God, dude, that's crazy. Well, you know why everybody has ADD? All the kids have ADD and ADHD now is because the doctors are getting kickbacks off of that Ritalin and those kinds of drugs.
Well, it's not only that, but it'll disqualify them when they become adults from being able to own a firearm.
Wow.
Yeah. Anybody that has been on Ritalin or any of those ADHD medications, according to this bill, would automatically be disqualified from owning a firearm. So if your parents, if you were 4 or 5 years old, and your parents got you on Ritalin, and then you didn't need it when you were an adult, just because you had been on it when you were a child, it would automatically disqualify you.
Wow.
Ain't that some shit?
So how long have these plans been in the works?
Oh, they've been trying to push this for years, but this one, they just recently, about a month or so ago, introduced this to the Senate and brought it to the floor. It's under review right now. They haven't actually brought it up for a vote or anything yet, but it's under judicial review to see if it would hold up in court.
Well, this morning I watched a video from the Prepared Homestead where he talked about Missouri is pushing through legislation for I forget how he exactly worded it, but it was basically a state legislation. It makes the state of Missouri immune to federal
gun
laws. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, there was I think Utah did that recently as well. I think it was Utah that passed a bill through their state legislature that stated that any laws restricting the ownership of firearm that are made by the federal government will not be enforced by the state government.
Well, this one, right, and this one in Missouri went even further than that, saying that anyone who tries to infringe the rights
would be arrested.
There's a fine of like $50,000.
Oh yeah. Yeah. But good luck finding my guns.
I'll tell you what, man, if things are going to come to blows, there's just no way around it.
Well, they're talking about, if you were deemed ineligible to own a firearm under this law or under this proposed law, you would have 30 days to turn in your firearms. If you didn't turn in your firearms, they would come and confiscate them and send you to prison.
What firearms?
Say what?
I said, what firearms?
Yeah, right.
In Louisiana, there's no you don't have to be licensed or there's nothing. Anybody can have a firearm.
I wish it was that way here.
Well, you can buy it from a friend down the road and it's not registered to you.
Yeah. Well, here in Illinois, you got to jump through so many hoops to be able to own a firearm. It ain't even funny. You got to get a FOID card, which requires your background check and all that stuff. And then if you want to carry concealed, you got to get the carry concealed. And then if you want to,
well, you got to do that here too, but that's to register a firearm.
Well, here you can't.
If I go to Walmart and buy a firearm, then yes, I have to go through a background check and all those things. But I can buy one off of a friend down the street,
or if you inherit,
right? Or you inherit a firearm, and those don't require to be registered.
Here they are. Say personal transactions like that are required to be reported here. You know, and they enacted that law some years ago, but a lot of my boomsticks, my freedom sticks, whatever you want to call them, you know, firearms, I acquired them before that law went into effect, so none of them are registered. You know,
Yeah, right.
Most of them don't even have a serial number on them anymore. But
see
yeah,
that's
I mean,
another thing we're an open carry state, so as long as it's out in the open we can carry.
Right.
We have to have a concealed carry
Yeah.
permit.
Yeah, here you have to have a permit for every little thing, and it's ridiculous. I mean,
Most
you know,
times I carry a 22 rifle, so it's pretty hard to conceal that anyway. So
I liked when I lived in North Carolina. You know, it was an open carry state. I used to walk everywhere with a 9 on my side and then a 38 in my around my ankle. You know,
Yeah.
because I always carry a backup. You know, you got to. But you know, and the thing is, in the line of work I used to be in, I had a national permit to carry. I actually had an international permit to carry, and the only was the voice of the state capital. You know, unless I was working for, you know, a congressman or something like that. But you know, I carried all over the world, and now they're wanting to make it impossible for me to even carry in my own state. It's just,
Yeah.
it's sheer stupidity, because to me, shall not be infringed means that you won't make any laws that restrict or prohibit the ownership and use of a firearm. You know, so any law that they've made, I consider unconstitutional. Any registration you have to do or anything like that.
Well, if you look at
I
the
don't
first,
mind.
if you look at the first 10 amendments, the Bill of Rights,
Yep.
right? Every one of those is not, they don't give you rights. They restrict the government from taking away your rights. Every one of
Yep.
those, the way they're written.
Yep, those are your God-given rights. Those first 10, you know, those are rights that you were given at birth by God, not by the government.
That's right.
You know, it scares me to think.
You got to have a permit in order to get the permit, and then have a safe to keep the permit in.
Well, that's one of the things with the HR 127 is they want you to tell them what guns you have. Tell them where exactly in your home you store them, exactly where you store them. You have to put them inside of you have to put a trigger lock on it, put it inside of a gun case, and then lock it in a gun safe. Okay. And how the hell am I going to get to that if somebody breaks into my house?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I keep a 9 under my mattress in my bedroom. I can easily just slide my hand under there, grab it, pull it out. It's loaded with one in the chamber. I just turn the safety off on it and go.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but under this law, I would have to store it inside with a trigger lock inside of a gun case, inside of a locked vault, and have to tell the government exactly where in my home, what room, where at in that room it's kept. And then they want to.
When somebody breaks into your house, you're supposed to say, "Hang on a minute, let me get my gun.
Yeah.
Don't kill me first."
Time.
Right.
Well, on top of that, they want to make that registry where you're telling where your guns are kept and everything. They want to make that registry public information. So criminals could go in, type in your address and your information, and find out exactly where your guns are kept in your home. Okay. Yeah, let's just make it a little easier for the criminals. Why don't I just hand them my guns when they break into my house?
Right.
You know, and let them shoot me. You really need to look up the HR 127 bill. It's interesting, Reed. It takes takes a while to read through all of it. It took me a couple of hours to examine it and see exactly what the hell they were talking about, you know. And I was like, oh my God, this is the biggest gun grab bill I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
Because by the time they get done, only maybe 1 or 2%, maybe 3 at the most, would actually be able to own or even purchase a firearm. You know.
Well, I promise you, Texas is never going to go for that.
Heck, Louisiana's not going to go
Louisiana's never going to go for that. If they come in looking for guns in Louisiana, they better bring trucks to get the guns, because there's way too many, and they're never going to find them.
I was running emergency relief during Katrina.
Louisiana people are crazy, and we have alligators to dispose of bodies. I'm telling you, all these people that come for guns will end up in the swamp somewhere, and no one will ever find them.
Well, see, I ran emergency relief down to Louisiana and stuff during Katrina, and I actually witnessed gun confiscation taking place by the U.S. military. You know, so the people that think that the military would not confiscate your guns, think again, because I have actually seen them do it. I seen a soldier tackle this old woman that was actually handing over the firearm. She had a hold of the barrel and was handing it butt first toward them. And they tackled her and took it from her hand. I'm like, really? You know, they kicked in doors. You know, they had a registry of people that had guns. And they were going door to door collecting them. You know, so anybody that thinks that the government would not do it and the military would not back them up, you all need to think again.
There you go. When they enforce all the illegal gun owners and criminals, then I may consider it. That's exactly right.
Well,
you know, they claim that they could do it.
Follow the law. I mean,
they claimed that they could do it because they declared martial law during Katrina, you know, in the state of Louisiana. So that gave them the authority to go and kick in people's doors and take their firearms. Yeah. And it's just the same general that was in charge of that is now being put in charge of the distribution of the vaccine. So think about that.
Wow.
Think about that. The general that was in charge of Hurricane Katrina is the same general that they are putting in charge of the distribution of the vaccine. So tell me that something bad might not be coming down the line.
Yeah.
You know, and that's not a conspiracy theory. That is just a plain out fact that they put the same general in charge of the vaccine that was in charge during Katrina and was confiscating firearms. You know, so some people will probably be calling me a conspiracy theorist over that, but that's a fact. You can look it up. You know, I'm not saying he will force a vaccine or nothing, but I'm saying if he's willing to confiscate guns, you know, what else is he willing to do?
Mm-hmm.
You know, just food for thought.
Right.
Right. I paid a lot of money for my doors. Kick it in and see what happens. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you kick in my door before I'm able to get to my firearm, my dog's going to get you first, and then I'm going to shoot you. You know? So you're going to die in pain because my dog likes to go for the groin area.
Oh. Oh, wow.
Yeah, he will. He goes straight for the groin. That's the way I trained him, though. Because I figured that's the one area that they ain't going to be really trying to protect that, you know. And if they're trying to protect that, they sure as hell ain't going to be coming at me.
Right.
Yeah. All right, well, I guess we should probably end this, and we'll have to do this, like I said, again another time whenever other people aren't streaming. Probably do it at an earlier date. or an earlier time, I should say, because like I said, there was 4 people when we went live that were going live at the same time, and I was just like, well, really?
Well, you know what? I may organize with you with my other channel, Cajun Prepsteader, so that we can maybe do the StreamYard thing there at some point.
All right, that'll work. I can come on your channel.
Yeah, right.
And I'm more than willing to go to other people's channels and talk with them. The first live stream that I did, it wasn't on my channel. I did on Grim Survival's channel. He was the first to interview me. So
yeah.
And then I did one with Prepper Nation, John over at Prepper Nation, last week, I believe it was.
Okay. Cool.
But yeah, I mean, I'm always willing to talk, whether it's on my channel or somebody else's. All they got to do is ask.
Well, sounds good.
But you've got my number.
Yeah.
I've got yours. Yeah, and I keep your number. I'm not one of those people though that's going to be texting you constantly or whatever. But I might text you now and then, say, hey, you want to get together, go live?
Well, that'd be fine. Yeah.
But yeah, I think my wife's probably getting pretty mad at me.
Yeah.
Been out here 2
Yours
hours.
is getting kind of sleepy.
Uh-oh. We froze up.
Everybody that did stop in, check our the Broussard's page or channels. He's got 2 of them. So yeah, at first I was having trouble with your name. I was like, is it Broussard or Broussard?
Broussard, like brewing coffee.
Yeah. Oh, don't get me started on coffee. I drank a lot of that today.
Well, typically we'll have a couple of mugs of coffee while we're live, but we did that earlier today, and when we were live on our, I just did not want more coffee because I know I would not be able to sleep tonight.
I drank about 2.5 gallons today, and then before I came on here, I was like, I ain't doing coffee, so I just put Mountain Dew in my jug. Because I'm not going to be able to sleep tonight as it is.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you, Mayberry, for lining this up. Mrs. Preppering Plumber says, good chat. And Dan, we the people, thank you so much for having us on. We appreciate you.
Yeah, I even bought me a new shirt for it.
Hey, I like that. Yeah.
It's got the Minuteman on the front.
There you go.
There you go. Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah. But I guess we'll call it tonight before my old lady kills me.
Okay, man.
She was mad she was mad at me last night because I came home and pretty much passed out on her. Well, bless everybody out here. Thank you for your time. Appreciate it. Check out his pages as well as mine. Watch our videos. Subscribe. Definitely hit the thumbs up on our videos. But we'll call it a night here. Everybody have a good night.
All right. See you later, Dan.
Talk to y'all later. Yep. Have a good one, man.
All right.
Take her easy. Bye-bye.
Bye.